Hey guys, Nolar here, back with another 5-9 gaming video, and this time I brought Ignant along to talk about Counterside, the SEA version, and we're going to do about a review because it's been about 30 days or so since the game came out. Figured that was enough time to give you guys what we think about it. Now, if you guys like the video, hit that like button. If you guys are new here and like the content, hit the subscribe button and ring that notification bell so you know when we go live with more content like this. So without much further ado, let's get going. All right, guys, we're going to be back here talking about Counterside. I'm sure if you guys have been on the channel, you see some reviews, some summons. Oh, we're going to do a review now, but you've seen some summons, and they've been some lucky summons. But I'm not alone. I'm joined by Ignant, the resident guy. I pulled back into Gacha Hell with me. So say hello, Ignant.
What's up, guys? Yes, unluckily enough, I am in Gacha Hell again. Yes, it's all thanks to this fludger right here.
Yeah. The second he got out, I pulled him back in. So, look, if you guys have seen some of the stuff, we're going to talk about, our reviews. It's been about, 3-4 weeks since the game came out, maybe even longer than that, but that's
this week will make, the first month of SCA version being out. I was
right,
looking at my login, it was at, 28 yesterday or the day before, and that's why I messaged you. I was like, yo, it's been a month, let's hop in and do a review on it now,
Yeah, so, look, so let's talk about the game. This is the SEA version that we're talking about. It's because it's in English, in the Southeast Asian region. Generally, most games that come out there are in English, so that's why we're reviewing this. But it's been out in Korea for a while. I want to say close to a year. Yeah, go ahead.
I think it hit its 500-day mark earlier, I believe, because I was subscribed to the YouTube channel. I think they made a community post about it or something.
Oh, okay.
Celebrating 500 days. I'm not too sure, but I know it's been over a year now.
Yeah, so we got to catch up, and but so far they launched it, and the launch was fairly successful. I think I even saw a tweet from you, Ignat, that it hit top 10 in the top grossing, so that's pretty good considering it's just a launch, right? So yeah. Yeah, so where can you get the game if you're interested in it?
You know what? That's a good question. We actually have a channel up on the video on how to download the game, but long story short, you can literally just look up the game on Google and you can find it and you can just download it straight off the website, or go to the store. I actually uploaded a drive link there to just download it straight up like that.
Yep. And with the Q app, you have to type in counter:/side and then SEA, because there's the Korean version and all that stuff. You want the SEA version. And this has a PC client. Now, that's kind of one of the pros I want to talk about, because it's becoming a bigger phenomenon of games gacha games to include a native PC client. I know you're in love with it. Talk about it yourself, man.
Yes, so this fudger Nolar over here, he knows how to get me hooked into things. He was like, hey, Ignat, it's in 21:9, so it supports the ultra-wide monitor, which, to show how big that is, most AAA title games don't even support 21:9. I have to sit here at black bars. So once Nolar told me, hey, it goes to 21:9, it's alright, I'm sold. Then I saw the transition for leveling up units as the Tekken transition. I was like, yep, I'm sold. But yeah, the PC client, it's really good. It runs at 60 FPS, 21:9 like we mentioned. You can also put it 16:9 if you have a regular monitor, which I'm assuming most of y'all do. But overall, the PC client is perfect. It runs very well. It doesn't overheat anything. It's, very PC friendly. I'd assume that even you have a lower side PC, you could play it with no issues. But yeah, the PC client is a lifesaver, because I tell you what, I just don't use my phone for anything but Twitter and TikTok at this point.
Yeah, the one thing that most people when they play their gacha games are supposed to be kind of pick up and play. Nowadays, sometimes they want you to be on there 24/7, and that'd be cool, because that might be the life I want to live in, but I can't do that on my PC. I love my phone, but I don't want to kill its battery. So most people run an emulator, but emulators are running an operating system within another operating system. It's just sluggish. It's not the most ideal way to run an app like that. So having a native PC client where, for you, and especially supporting different resolutions, different frame rates, all that kind of stuff, and Counterside's kind of a farmy game. So you might want to just let it sit there for half an hour, or whatever the case may be, while you go do some other stuff. So just letting your phone or tablet not be bombarded with this is a really good thing. Now let's talk about some gameplay. What do you think? What can you compare this to? Is it an amalgamation of a couple different games, or is it unique on its own? Or how would you describe the gameplay for someone who's new to seeing Counterside?
It's pretty much your standard like side view tower defense game basically, but like it's a lot of fun because there's a lot of strategy to it once you get to the higher levels of play, especially in PvP. I know it's a funny comparison, but Plants vs Zombies. I'm sure everyone's played that. It's pretty similar to that, but like a little bit more depth into it. Obviously, that's like the best comparison I can make.
Yeah. So for the actual gameplay portion, you've got you're going from left to right. And your ship's on the left. The end objective is to kill the other enemy ship, right? Mm-hmm. And you're basically doing tower defense in the sense that your units, you drop your units, they just keep going to the other direction, killing stuff as you go. But they have skills, they have ultimates. So again, like you said, I mean, you can auto most things, which 90% of the time, that's fine if you're just trying to farm. But if you're in PvP here, and this is a PvP gacha, so just make sure that's clearly stated, you want to have to play manually to get the timing of stuff down, because sometimes you don't want to drop a specific unit, or sometimes you want to save your energy bar to drop 2 units at the same time to like overwhelm your opponent or whatever the case may be. So the actual gameplay side is just left to right. It's really pretty fun in the tower defense sense. But there's an actual map portion where you got to move around the map, and that's where you have your own ships and you can have multiple squads. So this is where the hero collector portion and maxing out your entire team kind of factors in and makes you play a lot, because all right, your first ship might have your best squad, but then your second ship, you might need to level that up a little more, put some more resources into them so that you can take on the more challenging maps. So the squad movement with the ships, I think it's pretty cool. So why don't you go talk about like all the abundant ways, because this is basically an RPG, how you can power up and level up your units.
Well, first off, obviously you have the leveling system, and in this game they're called appraisals that you get from farming and stuff like that, and that is how you level up units. But there's also a limit breaking system. Now, I guess we'll also touch on this later when we go to like pay and like how it's monetized and everything, right?
Yep.
But dupes, the more dupes you have, the easier it is to level them up because it takes less resources, which I guess I'll throw a little tip in here. You want to save that for like level 100 and then limit break it to level 110, because that takes the most resources, so you want to use the dupes at that point. So they have that, and on my screen right now you can see I have level 108 Elizabeth, and then I had a level 110 Hilde earlier. So you have your limit breaking, you have skills, you have to level up skills, they all go up to level 5, and then as you level up the skills, they get extra bonus like extra % damage, extra attack speed decrease of enemies, timer cooldown shortening and stuff like that. You also have gear, which gear is a lot of fun to play with because there's a lot of different things. If y'all play Grand Cross, I hate comparing it to Grand Cross, but if y'all play Grand Cross, it's kind of similar to that, where you have to have like certain pairs of stuff. Like for attack speed, you have to run like 4 pieces to get the full boost of that. HP, 2 pieces give you 20% HP boost. You can actually stack that up and run like 4 pieces of HP gear, and it gives you like an extra 40% HP to the unit and stuff like that. It's it's a lot of fun to mess with. You got your substats in the gear and stuff like that. And then there's also an implant system. So like as you level up the units, the more you can implant into it, which just boosts up their stats even further. So you pretty much there's like these little trophies that drop when you do like certain missions and stuff like that give you like a big boost. But you can also use your like lower rarity units, like your 1 stars and 2 stars.
And R's, yeah. So that's the incentive for you to farm, right? Like, so you let it auto farm all day. You get a bunch of units, specific type units, because there's the typings, right? There's rangers, there's snipers and stuff like that. Defense units. You can boost their stats with implants that way. So yeah, there's a lot of ways to really beef and power up your units, and that's where the strategy and of course the huge farming aspect comes in, because like Ignant said, the gear. You need the typing gear, so sometimes you need 2 or 4. But then there's tiers, right? There's tier 1 through, I think, tier 6. There may be more than that, but I think at the most it's T6. And those are really hard to find because you can craft gear. So you would need to farm specific stages that drop, I think what they're called, like molds. So like a T5 weapon mold, you need at least 10 of those to make one weapon, but then you need to get the material, I forgot what those are called, to then craft it, and crafting takes time. So, and the only way to level up gear so far is experience gear mats and then all other gear, which can also be like crafted and then found farming on other maps. So like farming, this is a Korean gacha, and if you guys don't know, generally a lot of Korean gachas are known to have you farm 24/7, right? For whatever reason, if you're trying to be optimal, right? Yes. And here you want to like, hey, load up on Stam, which I think it's called Eternium here, and you'll just let it farm for like 4 hours while you go, read a book or study or clean the house or whatever you're gonna do. Play another gacha like I do.
Or be like me, just sit there, stare at it auto, and just go, pretty waifus.
Yeah. We'll get to that in a second. But yeah, there's a ton of ways to really farm up, like power up your units, and a lot of different nuances, and there's new units that are always coming out. So power creep and stuff like that, it's there. But the other cool thing we'll talk about later too, or we can talk about now, is PvP. There are actual bans, so you can't use specific units. So you have to change your strategy. I think it's once a week, right, Ignant?
Yes, it's pretty much every like weekly reset. They add a new ban list, and there's actually tiers to it. So like they don't make it where you can't outright use the unit at all. They have like a pretty unique way where, like, say Yang, she gets banned a lot because she's like the most busted support ever. But she's 3 costs, so you can see on the screen right now. And right now she has a tier 2 ban, which means she gets 2 extra costs on her, which makes her a 5 cost unit. Now you can still run her and just brute force your way through the team costs, but I don't really recommend it. But you can do that if you just absolutely, that unit is like vital to your team. And there's also like a tier 1 ban where it just gives like 1 extra cost, and there's also ship bans where like you use a certain ship, you get like debuffs to your team basically. So it's like a pretty fun way, and it keeps people from like just using one team and that's it. It makes you have to be a little bit creative every week with your teams and stuff like that. I like it. It's a pretty unique system. I don't think I've seen any other game actually ban like that. They usually just outright ban the units.
Yeah, because the difference between 3 costs and 5 costs is like the difference between winning and losing.
Yes.
Yeah, because you could drop a unit for 3 costs, but it might take you like 5 to 6 seconds to get the extra 2 to get to 5, and that extra 5 to 6 seconds may, like I said, be the difference between winning and losing. So again, the cool thing is if you're more of a strategic player, this is your game, right? Because you gotta, you might want to beef up a certain unit with double HP sets. And then put them in the front line, but then 1 week it might be like, oh, they're banned, so, or of course increase cost, then you want to switch up the gear to somebody else. Like, there's a lot of ways to play it, and so there's the incentive to go with that. Now, the other thing I want to talk about is the type of characters, right? The artwork style. There are waifu collectors, and all you get a waifu is like a Azure Lane. That's an option. But this one, there are waifus, but then there are some husbandos, right? And then there are some mech units. So it's got to...
If you're 12-year-olds, you're like, man, I really like robots and helicopters, bro. You're right here.
Right. I mean, and the other thing we didn't really talk about is we have ships, right? Like I said on the map, you bring ships. Well, you can make and build your own ships, and they all have different capabilities and skills that will really turn the tides on battles. So... I mean, like I said, there's a lot of things to do, a lot of things to farm, and of course, there are the waifus, that's for sure. But the best thing about it, when you play the game, the actual gameplay from like the side-scrolling tower defense, it's full-fledged models. There's no chibi models. Like, that's the best part about it. Yeah, I don't know how you feel about that.
I love it, and they actually move the models around. It isn't just like some like 2-frame movement or anything. It's like very fluid movement. Like I mentioned earlier, the game runs at 60 FPS on the PC client. If your PC is a little bit on the lower side, you can drop it at like 30, but I mean, the game isn't that intensive. It also has like different graphics settings and stuff like that.
Yep.
But it looks really good. The game is really good. They do have it might be because how big my monitor is, but they do have like some arts, like Elizabeth, where she has the swords around her, and they look a little pixely if you look really close, but for the most part, everything looks really good in the game.
Yeah. So... yeah, the art style, the fact that you have, they're appealing to all types of people who love the waifus, husbandos, mech units, whatever the case may be, whatever you like, there's something here for you. And then on top of that, the art style actually looks good in combat as opposed to just on the home screen when you're looking at your team and stuff like that. So we talked about all the good stuff about the games. What are some of the things you think they need to improve, Ignat?
So I'm kind of mixed on it. So like right now, the SEA version, we mentioned it before, like Korean version is like a year plus ahead. So what they're doing right now is they're kind of releasing like 2 new characters every week. So they're kind of rushing them out. But I don't know. I kind of like it, kind of don't, because, you know, we're well, so we like summoning every week. But they also make most of the units right now like skip units. But the thing I want to change the most, probably how the awakening units work, the like Hilde and stuff like that. So for context, the awakening units are pretty much like the LRs of this game. There's 2 in SEA right now. There's Jisoo, which is the free-to-play one, and then there's Hilde. And Hilde is pretty much like, since most of our viewers are like Dokkan players, so picture whichever one you prefer between LRUI Goku and Royal Blue Vegeta, Super Saiyan Blue Evolution, whatever you want to call it. That's what Hilde would be. And then Jisoo, the free-to-play one, would pretty much be what the second best unit in the game is. So the awakening units are like head and shoulders above all the other like just regular summon banner units. And it's just, the currency is super hard to get, even as a well. It's like super expensive. But the thing with it is that I believe someone did the math, and like as a free-to-play player, you're basically guaranteed to get the unit like in 2 to 3 months because the pity carries over. But I don't know. We haven't gotten the second banner yet, so I don't know if they're going to rush those out every week. But I'd say just try to make it a little bit easier to get that currency, because like I know you dropped half as much money as I spent on the game in the lifetime just trying to get Hilde for the pity and stuff. And it was just rough to see. It's like it's really, really, really expensive to do that.
Well, the reason why it's expensive is because they limit the amount of currency you can get. Like, they have their own special currency, and they limit how much even a whale can buy in a week. So, like me, you know, I need to have the unit from the get-go so I could play with it, max it out, and then bully all the free-to-play as much as I want. Yes. But if it takes me... if I buy every pack and I still can't pull the unit even with the pity, well, then that's an issue that they have. Now, I understand that they want to gate it to, you know, stop the power creep and, you know, the bullying, I should say. But at the same time, it's like, well, this is how you want your business model to run. So come on, guys, you got to appeal to us, right? So I agree with Ignant where, at the very least, free-to-play needs to get more resources to earn that special contract or currencies to pull the units. And they're really strong, like purposefully made that strong. So I could see where the appeal is. Now, the most important thing is what we mentioned is dupes aren't necessarily that important, right? So you just need to pull the unit once.
Yes.
The thing is to limit break them further and further. It just costs more materials if you don't have an extra dupe lying around. So if you had more dupes lying around, it wouldn't be as expensive. But if you were free to play and just need to pull the unit once, then you just stock up on all the materials and then just blow through your horde, right? So,
which I want to point out real quick, cutting you off, but to put in perspective, like Nolar bought every pack. He got literally every single of the classified deployment things he could do, and he ran out before he got to the pity for Hilde. So he had to start spending 3,000
of the admin coins. Yep.
Yes, of the admin coins, which that's not cheap. That's not cheap for a multi. Let me tell you. Summoning the other banners is easy. Like, it's $200 max to get the new unit guaranteed on those banners, which is really, really generous for a gacha game, because those kind of ledges at $200, you'd be lucky to get out with one copy of the unit at that point. But so like those banners are fine. I think that's perfectly fine, even for free-to-play players with the rushing it out. All these units are pretty much skips, and most of the units are actually droppables and stuff like that. Like the tomboy girl that came out recently, you could drop her. You get like 6 chances they get her drop, like stronghold drops, orca drops, and all that stuff. It's just with the classified banners are so expensive. Like, I'm not gonna say how much Nolar spent, but he spent a pretty penny. And then he had to continue using admin coins as well just to get Hilde. And he got her at the 14th multi. Like, he was one multi off of pity. So he couldn't even spend even more on top of that. Like, it's...
I know.
Like, I understand why they're doing it, because they're basically LRs of the game. They don't want everyone in the world to have the unit right off the bat. Because like I mentioned earlier, free-to-play players get in like a month or two, 2 to 3 months just with free currency, stuff like that. But like, It's like even the whales are going to be struggling to get even just one copy. I think it needs to be changed just a little bit.
Yeah. Well, speaking of the other thing, summoning, the one thing I personally like, and this is the want them to change, is the fact that when you do a multi, they start off the first unit as your highest rarity unit. Yeah. I hate that. I absolutely hate it. It just kills the hype, because the second you see purple, when you know that's a 2-star, the max you're going to get, you just, all right, skip, because that's just not going to be good. And then, of course, you get the yellow, that's your 3-star. Well, cool, right? But the problem is, it's like, if it was just always 2 stars or once, like even like dead multis, right? Like literally dead 1 stars, R's, N's, whatever you want to call it. Yeah, those don't feel great. So it would make the summoning experience way more enticing if it was mixed up, like every other gacha. I think there's a few other ones that do like that whole like descending rarity thing, and I hated it. I was just never a fan of it. So
yeah, I'm not a fan of it either.
Again, that's the experience of being a whale, but most importantly, just like the enjoyment of playing a gacha is summoning, right? Like I don't think anyone could deny that. And if you just make the animations look terrible or the experience not feel good, then you just strip away part of the experience so far. So even though I love everything, if they change this one thing, I would say this would be a top tier gacha in my opinion. But there's a few things they need to change, of course. So, all right. With that said, that's pretty much all I have to say about the game. I thoroughly enjoy it. Of course, I don't have to play it all the time, which is why I have my resident farmer here, Ignant.
Yes, sir. 24/7 on duty.
That's exactly true. But yeah, I so far the gameplay's great. The art style's great. For the most part, the interfaces, how things are working together, the leveling system, how you could power up your units, those are all really fantastic. Again, maybe a few changes here and there, which we've outlined, but I thoroughly enjoyed it so far. I'll give it like an 8.5, maybe closer to 9 out of 10. I would give it a rating so far as of this, as 1 month into the SEA version. What about yourself, Ignant?
20 out of 10, bro. I love this game.
We tried to mention music, dude. The music.
Yo, we do the OST. If y'all watch any of the videos I've edited recently, you notice I started using new music, and most of those soundtracks are from Counterside. The OST is so fantastic for this game. It's so good.
Yeah, definitely check out the OST, guys, if you have a chance. So, Ignant, last word before we sign off here.
Okay, well, I know we're kind of wrapping up, but I want to mention one thing real quick, because we talked about the Awakening units, how hard they are to get. Don't let that scare you, because they do balance these units in a way where they're all 5 to 6 calls, so you can't just run into a well that runs an entire team of them, because you just curb stomp. Like, even if you have like all SR and rare units, you curb stomp because they can only sit at like 2 units at a time, basically. So don't let that scare you. But other than that, I love this game. I've been playing it religiously. I hate gotchas, bro. Like, I quit gotchas, and the Nolar got me to this one, and I've been playing it religiously. I probably have like 400 or 500 hours in the game at this point, not counting the time I just leave it to auto overnight. I highly recommend the game. Like I said, check out our short on how to download the game. It'll probably be linked in the description. But yeah, so off to you, Nolar. What's your final thoughts?
Yeah, guys, if you enjoy the art style, it's a Korean gacha, so just letting you guys know, be prepared for farming if you want to really be top tier shape. But if you just want to have some fun, I think this is a lot of fun. We got a lot of guys in 5.9 in on the game. I think Stray's in on it. I think Adam, we drug him into the hell too. So welcome, boys, and enjoy your stay.
Wait, real quick. Advertise yourself some more. So, by the time this is going up, because I'm about to go to sleep after this, it'll be Wednesday. And since it's Wednesday, new banner drops. So, we might be streaming summons on twitch.tv/59gaming1. So be on the lookout for that. If we don't stream it, me and Nolar will summon and we upload a video on that. So be looking forward to that. Just a quick plug.
Yeah, so be on the lookout for our summons either live on stream or here on the channel. With that said, thank you guys so much for watching the video. If you guys like the content, hit that like button. If you guys are new here and like the content, subscribe and hit that notification bell so you know when we go live with videos. With that said, on behalf of myself and Ignant, thanks so much, and we'll catch you on the next one. We're out.
Peace.